So good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
My name is Keith Adams, and you and I have not met before, is that right?
That's correct.
You did have a chance, though, to speak to Brian Steele, gentleman who's sitting back there a little earlier this morning, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
All right. You talked with him, and then he asked you a few questions about the incident that occurred. By this time, it's about, what, 6.5, 7 years ago in 2016, right?
Yes.
All right. So I just have really just a couple questions.
Okay.
You would agree with me. This was a pretty terrifying incident that occurred on that day. Is that right?
Yes.
In fact, you called the police right when it happened.
Yes.
Right? You were terrified both for yourself and for your daughter.
Yes.
It would be fair to say, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that obviously you wanted Christian Eppinger to be caught for what he had done. Right?
Yes.
You didn't know him before that day, right?
That's correct.
You never met him.
That's correct.
As far as you know, he never met you. He certainly, Mr. Eppinger, had no reason in your mind to do what he did to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
It was about 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes or so after the incident that he was caught in your vehicle. Am I right about that?
Like I said, I wasn't sure the time. I wasn't calculating the time frame of.
It wasn't long.
Yeah, it didn't take too long.
And the police actually responded pretty quickly when 911 was called, right?
Yes.
They came, and you were in fact able to give them a description of this individual. Look, the person you keep referring to as a kid, right?
At the time, yes.
Right, and also somewhat of a description of the other guy who got out of the car as well.
Yes.
Now, Christian Eppinger, or the person you would later come to know as Christian Eppinger, walks up to you. He's got a gun, and he puts the gun to you, correct?
Yes.
The other guy did the same thing as well.
Yes.
Your car pulls off, and it's sometime after that, after you've spoken to the police, that you are taken to the location where your car, as you see, has been crashed or has been is off-road against a tree somewhere.
Correct.
In the pictures that we've seen.
Yes.
Christian Eppinger is outside of the car, right?
Yes.
He has obviously been arrested and caught by the police.
Yes.
And you recognized him right away.
Right away.
You recognized him because his face was, he was a kid, you recognized his size, you recognized what he looked like.
Yes.
The other person who had gotten out of the car early with the gun, you didn't see that person. He wasn't caught.
That person wasn't caught.
Okay. But if I'm correct, you actually saw that person. You would have actually recognized that person again.
I would.
Okay. All right. You are, I'm going to presume, someone who is attentive to detail and
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, Mr. Eppinger ultimately came to court on that case.
Yes, he did.
You came to court as well.
Yes.
You were present when he was convicted of that crime that he committed, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that was back in, the incident happened in 2016, and it was sometime after that after he was caught, after he came to court, and he was in fact held accountable for what he did to you.
That's correct.
All right. Now, I want to talk to you about today. You are here today in 2024, and you are testifying to this jury about what you remember from that day, correct?
Correct.
And then you have testified to the best of your recollection. You remember it pretty well.
Yes.
Now, I've asked you already whether you spoke to Mr. Steele. Ms. Steele and I work together, and we represent Jeffery Williams. You know that.
Okay.
Okay. And do you know Jeffery Williams?
I don't know him personally, no.
But you know who he is.
But yes.
You know that he is an entertainer.
Objection, Your Honor. This is relevant. A sustained objection.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get right to the point.
Okay.
Jeffery Williams was not at your car holding a gun to you on the day this incident occurred, correct?
That's correct.
Right. You have no reason to tell this jury, no personal knowledge that Jeffery Williams was in any form or fashion involved with your carjacking on that day, true?
That's correct.
All right. Ms. Hill, that's all I have for you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Anyone else? Mr. Matthews.
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Hill, good morning.
Good morning.
Careton Matthews here. I represent Mr. Huey sitting right over here. You've had an opportunity to look about the courtroom over here, all the people that are sitting in this courtroom. In fact, Mr. Eppinger, you don't see him in this courtroom, right?
No. Yes.
And you don't see that older gentleman that you described as the second person that put this gun to you, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, none of these individuals that are seated in this courtroom, to the best of your knowledge, had anything to do with what happened to you back in 2016, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and at the time that you went through that particular ordeal, I think you indicated that when you became emotional and you began to cry, you didn't think that you would have to go back through having to rethink or relive this, correct?
That's correct.
That's all I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Any redirect? Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Hill, on cross-examination, you were asked about the other guys that were involved. How many people did you see in total that were involved when you were robbed?
In total, including Christian Eppinger, it was 4 individuals.
And did any of those other 2 that didn't get out of the car, did they do anything to conceal their identity that you saw?
They didn't do anything.
And you were asked on cross-examination about Christian Eppinger being held accountable. Do you remember that?
I do.
Did you advocate for a lesser sentence in reference to that?
I did.
I'm going to after the approach, please.
I'm the same, Jesse.
No need to approach.
Ms. Hill, thank you very much. No further questions.
Okay, thank you.
No, sir.
All right, and Ms. Hill, be permanently temporary excused witness.
She may be permanently excused, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Hill, I'm going to permanently excuse you the witness. We appreciate your patience with us. Just don't discuss your testimony with anybody except the attorneys in this case, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you, madam. Be well.